Yo guys, Beast back with some more Beastly content. Today we're going to be doing a video over the new Power Surge crossbow. So this is actually a pretty good weapon. I have done some testing in it. I was able to clear a pro mode silo, so I mean it's not terrible. It's interesting. We will go ahead and be checking that out today, but I'm just going to quickly show you the build I have. So first of all, I'm using the secondary weapon as an SCR outsider. I just figured it's the go-to thing. Also, well, it's just what I got. So the other thing is I have a critical pulse, and I actually have the portable style calibration print on here with an elemental damage and an elemental damage perk. So this thing does actually pretty good actually. So we did a full test on it. I ran through a silo. We're gonna take a look at that in a second, but for now we are using one of the newer Power Surge mods, the Shock Diffusion. When triggering Power Surge, apply the Power Surge status to one enemy within 10 meters of the target. Prioritize enemies that are not affected by Power Surge status first. So that's gonna help out with this because this thing kind of like chains together and attaches to multiple enemies, and it's more of like an ads clear, or I think it's gonna be very helpful in Lunacy. Now we're not doing a build that's gonna work for Lunacy right now. This is a build you can just use when you're not playing Lunacy, because this build is actually usable outside of Lunacy. Now we're using a 3 set of the Shelter set, and then we're using a 2 set of Blackstone, and we're using Overload Pants. And we're using the 2 set of Blackstone because we're getting that slight elemental damage boost, and we do have a cold and heat resist of 2.5. We are playing on Way of Winter. I do believe my Lunar SC server is actually going to be a Way of Winter server. So yeah, and then of course the Shelter sets, just status damage reduction, elemental damage up 8%, and each weapon's hit grants 1 stack of Deviant Energy. So every stack of Deviant Energy grants 1% elemental damage. Blaze Frost effect can stack up to 20 times, so up to 20% elemental damage increase. So first of all, you can get a double the stack if you just make this a 4 set, so you may actually want to run a 4 set of Shelter, but I'm running the 2 set of Blackstone so that I get that extra elemental damage over from here and the Shelter set. So that's my set. We'll go through my mods real quickly. We're using Elemental Havoc with an elemental damage perk on the bottom, plus 6.4. Pretty good there. For the mask, we're using Thunderclap. After triggering Power Surge 20 times, the next hit summons Celestial Thunder Shock damage of 200% PSI intensity. And Power Surge damage plus 3.6 is the attribute effect for that one. That comes in very handy because this gun does 1 shot and it's pretty much guaranteed to be a Power Surge, and that's kind of its dealio. So Enduring Shield, when out of combat, gain 1 stack of Safe Haven every 5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. For every 5 damage received, remove 1 stack of Safe Haven to gain 8% shield for X number of seconds. So I actually think I did get one of the new shields, the Ardent Shield, and this one's precision, so it's for weak spot. That's why we're using this, because it has an elemental damage perk. But the Ardent Shield mods actually, while the shield is active, you gain plus 15% damage reduction. When the shield exceeds 1,000 single instances of damage, will not penetrate the shield. So it doesn't say, I don't know, it seems like it's a better shield mod, but I'm just going to use Enduring Shield because I have one that's elemental. We're using Abnormal Increase. When the magazine is empty, status damage plus 10% for 12 seconds. That can stack up to 3 times, and then we don't really have any too good of perks on that, but it will work. We're also using Elemental Overload for the gloves with the elemental perk on the bottom. As you can see, pretty good roll for an Elemental Overload. Elemental damage plus 18% plus 6.4, so a total of like 24 point something% damage coming from that. And then we have the Covered Advance mod on the boots with crit damage. If you are in Lunacy, and my Lunacy build for this is actually going to be a little bit different. Every 10% HP loss grants plus 4% melee weapon and status damage. That's all well and nice. Weapon and status damage plus 10%. Stamina loss grants an additional damage boost up to 20%. So that one's interesting, but I still think Rush Hour is just the go-to mod for Lunacy. I think there's some other mods that are also new, but regardless, that is my setup here. Now we're gonna go ahead and just swap our. See, also the other thing, it's like my gun's bugging out where even when I have this equipped, it shows the ammo count for the other bug. I don't know if this is gonna be like a part of some infinite ammo trickery or what, but I do know there's a bug on this already, so yeah. So here's the thing about this thing. This is why this is so cool. So as you can see here, that was just a normal hit. And why aren't we getting? See, once again, we're bugged on the DPS. There we go. Now we're getting the DPS. But as you can see here, this can actually chain lightning to see once it triggers the power surge. It'll actually chain lightning to any enemies around. So as you can see here, we're able to deal damage to not just that. And as you can see here, this is what's going on with the legs. This is why this build can actually be pretty decent even in silos against bosses, is because after, I think it's 20 hits, it's going to get what is basically 6 infinite ammo. So it doesn't even seem like 20 hits because this thing seems to like do multiple power surge hits at once with this build. But as you can see here, this is an absolute killer weapon for ads. And Lunacy, it seems like it's going to be just a bunch of enemies spammed at you with also like high key enemies. This gun should actually do very, very, very well for that. And I don't think I can get the arrows back for the mannequins. That kind of sucks. Another thing to mention about crossbows is you can actually retrieve your ammo back after you kill an enemy. I thought that was interesting with this. Nothing else is like this. But let's get on into the combat now. So I'll see y'all in just a minute. That's the build. Let's go. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and get on into this. We're gonna go ahead and actually run through the whole silo. This is Silo 08 on pro mode, just using a power surge build. We only have like 4-star on the weapon and 4-star on the pants. In my previous video I did the summons on it and got them started up. That's what we're gonna rock with here, and this is actually, like I said, a very, very good gun for the normal type of enemies on pro mode. And pro mode's probably what you should compare, and what I think Lunacy's probably gonna be like for most of the enemies. They're probably gonna die about like pro mode. And as you can see here, this thing actually can just absolutely eat these little enemies here, and it actually even ate one of the phase-based like things. And I don't even know if I have like my cradle override set up right or anything like that. I actually don't think I do for power surge. But as you can see here, it's absolutely eating this phase enemy here. And you see that little ball? It like clicks and clings against onto the enemies, like a sticky grenade sort of situation. And then when you finally do get the perk off where it's 6 shots where you can just rapid fire them, you can do a lot of heavy damage really quickly. But as you can see there, it's like a sticky grenade. It's like a lightning sticky grenade. And it actually just like damages anything the enemy walks around into. So like I said, for Lunacy, I see this being a very, very nice weapon. And we are going to be clearing the silo boss. It did take me a couple tries, but we're not going to watch all the tries. So we'll only watch the one where we actually succeeded. I came close every time, but you know, I don't know. It's an interesting build, and it can kill pro mode bosses, and it can actually handle pro mode, which is cool. But I just don't know if I see this weapon ever becoming something that someone's going to choose to use outside of Lunacy, because once again, Lunacy sounds like a lot of ad spam in a boss, and we will see soon. I'm going to be doing my tier 3 gear thrown together. We're going to check out Lunacy for the first time once I actually get on to the new Lunar Oracle servers. I still haven't even left for the servers yet because I wanted to test out this build, and I've actually thought about running through the other builds and whatever I can slap together, you know, because I have an alt that also has Starcrom, so I might try and test out the other 2 builds before we actually head on into the Lunar Oracle server, which is going to put me a little bit behind, but they gave out a server exit card, so I still have the one I can also purchase in the shop, so I still have an early exit server in case anything major actually did release. But as you can see here, once again, just absolutely cleared through those enemies. We're even going to kill the little mini boss in this area, actually, just to kind of, you know, showcase this weapon, because I really like this weapon. This really is a fun weapon to use. It's definitely a new, unique feel when you're playing the game with this, and I have the power surge you know, little special effect on it right now. It's the 2-star one, so you had to have 2 of the little phantom cubes. We're like collection level 90 now, so we do finally have that. I should have like the camos on, but I don't have any camo on this gun because I just kind of wanted to showcase it, like, you know, plain how it looks just straight out the box. It's not a bad looking gun either. I do not mind the design of this gun. And like I said, it does good damage. It's really not bad at all. Even when we're fighting this guy here. Now, we did come close to dying here quite a bit. And once again, he's a shielded enemy, so it's kind of irritating trying to use the whole like extra shots thing. We should get that the trigger off here in just a second. Yeah, here we go. So here's the extra shots thing. And like I said, he's a shielded type enemy, so once you get a hit, you're going to be doing good damage. But if you don't get a hit, then you're not going to actually be able to get any sort of good damage going on there. So as you can see here, though, we are still just kind of struggling through this little area just to kill these guys. Like I said, it's a really interesting feel to use one bullet, and like that's all you got. You got one bullet reload, one bullet reload, and it seems like it's better to just like quick shoot it and don't aim down sights. Though I will say I've noticed when you're fighting a boss specifically, after you shoot it, when you aim down sights, as soon as it's reloaded, it'll snap right back to where it was exactly. So maybe when you're fighting a boss, keep a little distance, aim down your sights with this thing, and then you can just keep firing off the shots, especially when you get the infinite shots, because that's very, very nice, aiming down sights. You get to get off some good damage killing this boss here. This is about to be a pro mode boss, so I'm not going to call it a melt. I don't think this build's melting or anything crazy like that, but I do think it's very good, and as you can see, there's that chain lightning effect where it's attacking one enemy, it took him out, and then it went on to the next one. Very, very nice, and like I said, the other thing I think I find kind of interesting about crossbows is the fact that you can retrieve their ammo. I don't see any AP arrows still, and that's what I said in my original video when I discussed this thing, was that they don't have all the arrows upgraded. They don't have AP arrows. And AP arrows, actually, one of the things will actually boost power surge damage by 12%. And I think for this build, that might actually come in very, very handy. And I wasn't even using items in this, and we were able to clear pro mode. And once again, all the armor and everything was like 1 or 2 stars. I mean, this wasn't even startup stuff. This was just the gun being startup and the status item, which are the 2 key things you need to have start up if you are limited on blueprint conversions. Honestly, you might not even want to be doing blueprint conversions for the whole armor set. You may just want to do it for the status piece, and then for the gun you're using it being 6-star status piece, 6-star gun, and you're going to have a blast. The other little stars aren't going to matter on all the armor, though. Once again, upgrade multiple sets of 6-star equipment, and then you can upgrade more than 1 star, more than 1 equipment. But as you can see here, this is how it goes, and as you can see, it actually was doing some very good damage there in the beginning. I am actually kind of impressed with this thing. I honestly didn't think I'd be wanting to use this thing outside of Lunacy, and I can't wait to try it out in Lunacy. But overall, as you can see, this is that aiming down sights thing. It would see I was just instantly snapping it back. I wasn't having to aim down the sights. It just continued to aim down sights. Very good. I think the weapon design itself is phenomenal. I mean, this is a great gun. I like it. I really do like this gun, and I cannot wait to test it out in Lunacy. As you can see, though, it's still not melting the boss. And once again, this boss is like the worst boss because you always have to pick up these handling things and throw them at the stupid boss just to be able to even damage the damn thing again. But as you can see here we go again. Getting off some more shots there. We're just having the single fire, and there we go. We've triggered the perk again. We have multiple shots, so we're just gonna aim and we're gonna shoot. And it also takes care of like all these little ads the boss will spawn, and I mean it eats them too. I mean, it's a pretty decent gun. I definitely think for ads it's where its target's at, and it's really gonna be a lot of fun in Lunacy. I cannot wait to have a ton of enemies spamming at me and me shooting this thing off and it just chain lightning all of them. It's gonna do good damage. Cannot wait to showcase Lunacy, but once again, we're literally gonna have to get to level like what, 20 before we can even really do any testing of Lunacy, because we're gonna need at least a tier 3 set. I'm thinking I kind of just wanted to go for a tier 4, but then it required level 30, so I think we're just gonna go for level 20 on phase 1. We'll check out Lunacy soon. But as you can see, there's that chain lightning thing. It's really eating those wolves up while also eating that guy. And see, they're all sticking to the enemy, so wherever the enemy goes, you're also gonna be chain lightning. And as you can see here, I did go ahead and just start attacking this thing here, because when these, you can just ignore these guys, but with this build, it's just like, it's a slower build. You're not like clearing any speed limits when you're coming to like attacking bosses with this build. I really don't think there's gonna be anything too crazy when it comes to boss melting on this build, unless somehow someone's able to get a phenomenal amount of damage off on this thing on like every single hit's just absolutely eating. And once again, Messenger, not the best one to showcase it on, just because, you know, yeah. I also want to see how it goes with like the new armor, that like you get your boost up when your HP goes low, because I do ride like a low HP anyway, so I kind of want to do like a low HP build soon that's going to be usable outside of Lunacy, and just see how crazy damage you can get at low HP, because I'm sure with all the different boosts now that you can use, you can get a pretty badass build, I'm thinking, when it comes to like a low HP build. And as you can see here, is this actually where we died? So I think, yeah, so I guess I'll see you in just a second. Alrighty, and here was actually the victory. This is how we finished it off here. Once again, earlier we died. Like I said, I had very close comings to beating this thing over and over with this build. But the first few tries of actually using this thing, it was actually very difficult to figure out how to clear the boss in time. And I just ended up having to like kill more of the ads and things like that. But we did get a clear there, actually. I kind of wish I would have edited that better, where we just would have started with the whole clip from the beginning. But that works out for me. We were able to defeat the boss with this build. Like I said, I don't really see it ever being like some build you're going to be like, I have to use that. And honestly, even for Lunacy, I'm thinking there's going to be other weapons of better choice. When it comes to Lunacy, like, I think I'd rather play with the SCR Outsider than this thing in Lunacy, which I know is crazy because this is a very interesting gun. And once again, I want to test it in Lunacy because I think it's going to be better in Lunacy. But I do believe that's about the end of this showcase. Go ahead and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and keep it beast mode.